Premier League season have now been revealed. And according to Opta, it is Manchester United who have the toughest start. United play 3 of their opening 5 games against teams that finished in the top 4 last season. United's opening opponents, Arsenal, have the second hardest start, including a trip to champions Liverpool, while Aston Villa and FA Cup winners Crystal Palace have the kindest fixtures over the first 5 games. So Ruben Amorim would have been hoping for a kinder start to the new season, but he's got the opposite, really. Let's speak live to United We Stand editor and journalist Andy Mitten. Andy, good to see you. We just spoke to Harry Simeo, Arsenal podcaster, and he was a bit concerned about going to Old Trafford as a first fixture. How do you view having Arsenal at home?
It's difficult, but then Manchester United finished 15th last season. Every game's going to be difficult. It reminded me back to 1989, first game of the season. Arsenal, who were a far better team than Old Trafford then, than Manchester United then, came to Old Trafford. And United won 4-1. Michael Mitten was going to take over the club. He was dribbling the ball on the pitch before the game. I stood in the Stretford End that day. It was sunny. The world was a wonderful place. And Manchester United finished 11th that season. Faded very, very quickly after that opening day. It's a tough start for Manchester United. Also reminds me a bit of when David Moyes took over. And 3 of the first 5 fixtures, I think, were teams who'd finished in the top 6. Look, it's difficult. Your headline there was, it's a really difficult start for Manchester United. And it is. But equally, Manchester United have got to show that there's going to be a significant improvement on last season. And there's still time in the transfer market. We've seen one player come in already. We're going to have a full pre-season. The manager's bedded himself in now. So yeah, fans are going to be watching. They're going to be really, really eager to see what happens, but it is a difficult start.
And it's interesting you mentioned David Moyes there. We all know what happened to him eventually as the Man United manager. And we've just shown on Opta there. Opta thinks that Manchester United have the toughest first 5 fixtures. So if they don't start too well, how much pressure is Ruben Amorim going to come under?
Well, he's always under pressure, and the pressure will only increase. The fans have really backed him so far, singing his name at every game because they believe in him. They want to believe in him as well. There's defiance, there's a bit of desperation, but United cannot be finishing 15th next season. There's got to be a significant improvement. And if you're a manager at a huge club like Manchester United, there's always going to be a lot of pressure. And we saw, for example, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer started to fade in the autumn, Jose Mourinho. We've seen this before where managers lose the job in the autumn or October, November, December. I don't think that that's going to happen to Ruben Amorim. I'm backing him. I'm confident that he can bring about improvements, but he also has to do that. The wins have got to come. There cannot be a repeat of last season. And people at the club are absolutely confident that the wins are going to come. I don't think you're going to be seeing United winning the league next season, but there's got to be a significant improvement. And I hope and think that there will be.
I'd imagine, Andy, that the fans are quite encouraged that United are being linked with some big names in the transfer window. Cunha's already through the door. There's also Mbeumo's been heavily linked. Gyökeres, Hugo Ekitike now. How confident are you that you might get another big name or 2 through the door after Cunha?
So Cunha's signing was greeted with a lot of enthusiasm. United fans had seen how well he'd done for Wolves against Manchester United. Wolves, one of the teams who regularly beat Manchester United. This is what Manchester United have become. I think there'll be another name in. I think there's money there for another name of that sort of price category before Manchester United need to start moving players on, before they can release more funds to bring in other players which the manager would like to bring in. I was told a couple of weeks ago, think about number 10s rather than number 9s. I was also told about Bryan Mbeumo from Brentford wanting to come to Manchester United. He would be a signing who United fans would absolutely greet with enthusiasm. Brentford probably want to get as much as they can for a player who's been very effective for them. And they're the 2 who I absolutely factually know about. There's a lot of speculation about the others. But for now, they're the only ones that I know for absolutely certain.
And as you mentioned there, United will probably have to make some significant, sell some players as well. The two biggest, who maybe they could get some of the biggest money for, would be Rashford and Sancho. Do you think, though, if they're going to be able to sell those two, that both would have to take a significant pay cut?
Yeah, they would, because they're among the best paid footballers in the world, and their status doesn't match their pay packet. Anthony as well has done exceptionally well since going on loan to Real Betis, so he would have suitors. Marcus Rashford did well when he went to Aston Villa, and Jadon Sancho did okay when he went to Chelsea as well. But they've got huge contracts at Manchester United, and they're under no obligation to leave them. But as professionals, as people who want to play football, it doesn't look like they've got a future at Manchester United under the current manager. So it's up to compromise to be reached, whether it's them going on loan or whether that's them being sold. But there will have to be compromise there. But this has actually happened a lot in the post-Ferguson years. You've had players with no future at Manchester United moving on, with United either having to subsidise the wages or take a lower fee than they would have otherwise got. This is what happens when you finish 15th. When you're the champions and everyone wants your players, you can charge a price for that. When you're not, then it becomes more difficult in the market.
Andy, I just want to finish with that interview you did with Omar Barad. A very interesting interview it was as well. And he doubled down on his prediction that United will win the Premier League and the WSL by 2028. When he said that, what was your reaction? Were you surprised by those comments?
I think he's aiming for that, and if you're not going to aim for something, then what's the point of being in football? In his mind, it's a realistic target. He knows it's going to be difficult, so absolutely, because rivals are stronger than they've ever been. Every club in the Premier League has got money to buy top players now, far better players than traditionally they've been able to in relation to Manchester United. But aim high and hope that it comes off. It's going to be a stretch, but fortunes can turn pretty quickly in football. We've seen that. We saw Nottingham Forest turn around in the Premier League. I just think for now, the next season, Manchester United have got to be significantly better. Aim for European qualification for the season after, because not having that next season is a big miss. And I think that Omar Barada would agree with that as well. He's got a very clear idea of how he's going to make Manchester United successful, profitable on and off the pitch. And I think most United fans would back him with that as well. But it's difficult. There's no panacea. There's no magical answer just to make things all right with a click of the fingers.
Andy, always a pleasure to get your views on all things Manchester United. And I tell you what, it's going to be a very exciting start to the season for you and the rest of the fans.
Thank you.
Well, it is a season like no other on Sky Sports, with a minimum of 215 games live. That is up from 128 last season. Here are a few things to look out for when the season begins on the weekend of August the 16th. Sky Sports will have at least 215 live games for the next 4 seasons, giving fans the best matches week in, week out until May 2029. Fans will be able to watch 80% of all televised Premier League games on Sky Sports this season. As well as in the traditional Saturday and Sunday slots, the first and last word on a Premier League weekend will also come from Sky Sports. More live games on Fridays and Mondays than ever before. For the first time, all final games on the last day of the season will be live in one place, creating a real moment for fans. Are there any changes to Super Sunday for the upcoming season? Well, for the first time, Sky Sports will now be able to offer multiple live matches on a number of weekends, and that is in the Sunday 2 p.m. slot.